Hello everyone, this is the great Lord and Master, Osiron the Eternal, for what's going to be a delayed part 2 to the Tree of Life in the Zodiac. This is almost the same board as the last video, but I just never erased it. And it's pretty good that I didn't, because I discovered a few things. This is basically an extension to that, and it's going to cover some of the finer details of what's actually going on with the numbers in several fractal ways. A brief overview is what this is the Tree of Life structure separated into 4 quadrants, and this is a template now for the Zodiac. And this is the winter, the womb, the true tree. This is spring, the inverse of the jewel. This is the jewel, summer, and this is autumn, the inverse of the true tree. This is how this goes. And these are the hearts over here. This is the X formation, that's the hearts. And I explained all that in the previous video. Now with the hearts, there's something amazing that's going on, and the biggest main reason that I'm even making this video at all is because of what I figured out yesterday with the hearts. Okay, the hearts of the structures are 5 for the true tree, 6 for the jewel, 3 for the negative jewel, and 4 for the negative tree. Okay, and when you add those numbers up, 3, 4, 5, and 6, that gives you a total of 18. Okay, and we know 18 is very powerful because in the tree and jewel, in its dual form, it's 18 spheres to make that. And this is, I get into the 1-8 or the 8-1 a lot in other videos. So when you add it up, it gives you the 18. But now the amazing part is when you multiply it. When you multiply these 4 numbers in sequence, it reveals 360. So now it's showing the, as I say, the true tree of life is the seed in the womb of all of this stuff, and it is because one of the biggest points that I make over and over again is with the true tree of life in its singular expression, it shows the tree of life, and then this 9 would be on that for Malkuth. Okay. And what happens when you add up the middle pillar is it reveals 22. But on this tree, on the true tree, when you multiply the numbers, it reveals 360. So this is showing the seed nature of this, and then when it expands into its quadrant form, it shows the seed, the numbers. The 360 is showing the expansion of that seed, which is pretty amazing. And now there's a lot more with the numbers too. There's a lot more finer details that I forgot in the other video. Again, these are the hearts. These 4 are the hearts of each of these structures. 4, 5, 3, 6, 4, 5, 3, 6. Okay, and when you add them on top of each other, like when you add this 6 and the 5, that reveals a 2, and when you add this 4 and this 3, that reveals a 7 for a 7-2. But if you add them crossways, if you add the 5 and the 3, that's an 8. And if you add the 6 and a 4, that's a 10, which becomes 1 for the 1-8. Again, and it's like that. But now, if you were to add them going crossways, 3, 6, of course, becomes 9. And the 4, 5 obviously becomes 9. But if you do the same thing and multiply them, the 3, 6 becomes 18. 3 times 6 becomes 18. And 4 times 5 is 20. And again, the 4 and the 5, as I show in several videos, are like very key terrestrial numbers. Okay, and it's sort of showing that when you multiply them, it reduces to a 2, which is the essence of dualism. Okay, and the 3 and 6 are the numbers that are used to show what Kundalini is. And because we live in duality, even that is dual. So 3 and 6 are the Kundalini numbers, and when you multiply those, it reveals everything, the 1 and the 8, because the 1 and the 8 is symbolic of everything. So the 1 is the ultimate feminine number, okay, in its purest form, and the 8 is the ultimate masculine number in its most evolved that it could ever possibly be, the complete expression of the material of all existence is shown in the 8 as completion, as in like full maturity is what that 8 means. So you got the feminine purity, and then you got the fullest expression of the 8. And that's what that 1 and 8, that's why the 1 and the 8 is so powerful. Okay, now and then over here, what this is just showing what happens when you add the pillars of each structure. So when you add the pillars of each structure, it reveals these numbers that are closest to the line, and then when you reduce them, it reveals the numbers that are just above it or just below it. Okay? So now we're going to see a different element of fractality at work. This is pretty important too, because this is going to show some powerful things. And all of these constructs do this, and I'm going to show you that. Okay, so all of these numbers are separated into polarity, okay, feminine and masculine. Okay, now what happens on this, these two little graphs here are what's going on with these numbers when you separate the polarity. If you just use the reduced forms, okay, it's this grid here, and what happens is the feminine number is, all the feminine numbers become a 1, all the masculine numbers become an 8 for a 1-8 presentation, and the same thing, it's opposite in the lower world is the same exact thing but reversed. The masculine number is an 8, and the feminine numbers form a 10 and reduce to a 1 for 8-1. Up here it's all the masculine become 4 and then 5, and it's the reverse here. All the feminine become 5, and then the masculine is 4. So it's leaving a 4-5, then a 5-4 presentation, then an 8-1, then a 1-8. But if you use all of the numbers that are presented and sort of expand it to its next fractal evolution, if you use all of the numbers here, it reveals something a little different. All of the numbers in this quadrant here, all of the masculine numbers form an 8. And if you add all of the feminine numbers, all of the feminine numbers in both of these, it reduces to a 1 for a 1-8 presentation, and it's the same thing up here in its mirror here. So all the masculine numbers become 8, and all the feminine numbers combined reduce to a 1. These two, which are linked, I explained that in the other video, all of the masculine numbers become all the masculine numbers are reversed and become a 7, and all the feminine numbers become a 2 on these cross ones. And same thing up here, all the masculine becomes a 7 and all the feminines become a 2, so it's seeing the cross polarity, and these are the same polarity up here. And now, continuing on this theme, actually I'm just going to take a quick step backwards. This is the true tree, and this is the seed of everything. This is the womb, okay? And we're seeing this over here in the number sequence. It's first revealed when you add all the pillars up. So all of the numbers, before you reduce them, are all feminine numbers, okay? Because, again, what the true tree is, as I explain over and over again, the true tree at root is a feminine construct, but it's acting in a masculine way. It's exactly what Godhead is. It's the Shiva Shakti relationship. So the greater primordial power that transcends everything is the Shakti power, but it gets its power. It's exerted through the Shiva archetype. Okay, that's sort of what's going on with this. And it shows up over here when you add all the numbers. Is there isn't a single masculine number in the bunch at its root. You know, because 10 is a masculine number, but it's made up of, you know, feminine numbers, you know. So there isn't a core masculine number at all anywhere to be seen, and they're all feminine. And then only after it converts does it become 144, which is the root of all the elements. I mean, the 144 is very, very powerful to get into. It's 12 times 12. It's comprised of the core numbers separated in polarity. You got the, you know, the primal aspect of 1, and then the 2 elements in their feminine and masculine presentation. There's a lot going on with that. But up here, in this same theme applies up here when you combine the numbers. All the feminine numbers become a 6, which is a reverse, and all the masculine numbers become 3. Okay, so it's a 3 6 6 3 over here, and that does that, and it's the reverse. It's a polar reversal. But the another interesting thing too about this, see this construct I explained in the other video of what this is, and this up here I explain what's going on with this too. This is the heart. This is all the numbers in the middle pillar. You got the 8 3 1 4 1 6 and 8 5, and these are the middle pillar numbers there. Okay, but what happens is they ultimately reduce to a 7 and a 2. But now what happens is, this is amazing. If you add all of the numbers up that are shown now, okay, so if you add all of these numbers up, it reduces to a 3 for this column. And over here, if you add all of the numbers up, it reduces to a 6. And it's also comprised of 7 numbers. So you got the root 4 numbers, and it jumps to 2, and then it becomes singular with a 1, which is 7. Same thing, 4, then 2, then 1, which is 7. So we're seeing a 7 7, which 2 7s become 5 at its root. So there's a lot. Again, these numbers show up all over the place. But now what you're going to notice is, in the sequence of numbers that are created when you do this, it goes through every single number 1 through 8, and there's only one number missing. See, in this first construct, it goes through every number except 6. It has everything but 6. It goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, no 6, then 7 and 8. And over here it's the exact opposite. It uses every number except 3. So it goes 1, 2, no 3, then 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Every number is used except for the 6 here and the 3 here, which is pretty amazing. And again, if you add all the numbers up here, it becomes 3 and then 6. Same thing with here. If you add up all the numbers in this sequence, because what happens here is, these are all the feminine numbers in their root, and these are all the masculine. If you combine these, it becomes 16, which reduces to a 7. This is, all these numbers become 20, which reduces to a 2. Now if you add all the numbers presented, this reduces to a 3, and this reduces to a 6. So we're seeing the 3, 6 show up all over the place. Again, in this sort of how these numbers fractalize out, and show what's going on, and it so it doesn't really matter what you do with it. It just keeps fractalizing out and maintains the integrity of the code. And all this really does show is that there is a greater, there's an organized symmetry to life. Is basically what all that means. Is that this isn't an accident. This is a deliberate creation. Is basically what it means. It's intelligent design. Basically, is all this is saying. You can call that God, you can call it whatever you want, but what it surely is not is an accident, is an accidental phenomenon. There's no way is this an accident. It's too beautiful, it's too rhythmic, it's too coded, it's purposeful. It's and all my videos show this at its root. So this is, I think I got everything. This should be a pretty quick video. This is just. But the biggest thing I just want to emphasize again is the beauty of what happens when you multiply the 4 heart numbers. When you multiply the 4 heart numbers, it gives you a 360. And same thing as the true tree of life. When you multiply the middle pillar, including the 9, it gives you 360. So it's doing some pretty amazing things. In the 22, getting back to the 22, because when you add the middle pillar, when you add them up, the middle pillar of the true tree becomes 22, and that's just showing 2 elements of feminine and 2 elements of masculine. The feminine elements are, of course, water and earth, and the 2 masculine elements are fire and air. So we're seeing the code root of this. So this is just taking the tree of life structures and just, taking it to a much, much more higher level using a single-digit code, which could also be called the Tesla code. You could call it that too, because I'm pretty 99% sure that this is derived through Tesla and his workings, because Tesla was, I'm pretty sure the concept of reducing numbers is a Tesla brainchild. I'm pretty sure. But well, this is it. Thank you for watching, and namaste.